this question once again has that, where is it defined, then simplify. So sometimes this page 112.
Excuse the interruption. All grade 11 students that are going into grade 12 that have not picked up their registration forms and letters A
We'll
to
talk
J,
about registration a
please
little
go to
bit
the cafeteria.
today
Grade
as
11
well.
students going to grade 12, A to J in the cafeteria.
We'll do this question and then talk a little bit about registration. So for each of these, we'll do the define part first. Again, I've seen some of you do this already with highlighters or with, even with your pencil. If you read a question that's asking you for two things, right? I highlighted both things in different colors to remind myself, hey, I have two things to do in this question. Because it's in, like, don't you hate it when you get a test back and you're like, oh, I just didn't read that part of the question? You knew how to do it? You just didn't read it? Oh, that's frustrating. So either that, or maybe if you don't have a highlighter, you're in a test, you underline, you're like, I have to do this and this, maybe number them, like, I have two things that I need to do. And again, always really important, is when you finish a question, if you read the question again right after you finish it, that will remind you there might be something I missed. So it's a really good strategy. There's not a lot of reading in math, so you're able to read something more than once. Okay? It's a little bit different in an English class, right? Here's a novel, as soon as you finish it, the teacher says, oh, just read it again. You're like, no. That would take way too much time. So, where is it defined? We have a square root. First of all, it is an even index. So this is going to be a possibility of a problem. What can't we do? We can't take square roots of negatives. So can you see that if A is negative, that would be bad, so A has to be bigger than or equal to 0. And then, as far as simplifying it, what happens? They're like radicals, and you just get nothing. If they would just all disappear. So the question is, if you left it blank, would you still get full marks? Technically, you should, right? No, well, I can't tell if you know or don't. I guess the answer is 0. So in A, we didn't have to simplify first, but if we remember from yesterday's notes, simplify as radicals in lowest terms and then combine like radicals. So in this example, B, these are not like radicals right now because they don't have the same inside and the same index. But maybe we can simplify them. Also, it's asking where things are defined, so I'm going to do that first. For defined, now we have A's and B's. And they could affect each other, so this could be problematic. Okay? First of all, I'm going to notice that the A is squared. Do you see that when the A is squared, it's always going to be positive? The only thing that's going to possibly make this negative is the B value. If B is negative, the whole thing is going to be negative. If B is positive, the whole thing inside, both of them, would be fine. So as far as defined, the A doesn't matter, so it can be everything. But the B value has to be positive in order to work. Now, as you get good at these, right, this step that I'm going to write in purple, I'm totally fine if you skip it, okay? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to break up the 50 to 25 times 2 times A squared times B minus, and I'm going to break up the 8 to 4 times 2 because I'm thinking of my powers chart, and I'm thinking of what is the biggest perfect square that can divide each of these. But some of you can see the 25 times 2 right away. And you can say the square root of 25 is 5. And you can pull that out in front. The square root of A squared is the absolute value of A. And inside, I'm going to be left with a 2 and a b. Minus, same thing here, square root of 4 is 2, square root of a squared will be the absolute value of a, and I'll be left with 2b. Do you see that these are like terms? We have 5 of these things minus 2 of those things, and in the yellow boxes is the same, exactly. So they're like terms. If they're like terms, 5 of something minus 2 of something will leave me with 3 of that something. So the purple step, if you can do that in your head, perfect. If you make a mistake with that, right, then you just lose the mark there. So that would be optional, because I think many of you can see the 50 and see 25 times 2 right away. But if you like to write it out, to remind yourself, that can be helpful. And then part C, we have, again, they're not simplified. We have cube root of, I'll just rewrite the question to start with, and then I'll do that one step in purple, 27p cubed q. Minus plus 8. Oh, actually, p cubed. Start off with define. It's an odd index. It can be everything no matter what for both of them. No thinking required with odd indices. Because you can cube root a
Excuse
negative.
the interruption,
You can
all
cube
grade
root a
11 students going into grade 12 with letters K to P. Please go to the cafeteria if you have not picked up your registration. Thank you.
And this one we don't even need a purple step because 27 is already a perfect cube, so I could pull out the 3. P cubed. You have 3 of them, so you can pull out, when you cube root, 1 of them. Leaving us with just the cube root of q inside. Second one, that p cubed can come out in front as a p, leaving us with just the cube root of q, and then looking at my variables and my radicals, do you see that those in the yellow box are identical? So we have like terms, and we can add them together to give us 11p cube root of q. And you can circle questions 5 and 7.